getting nervous and
Oh,
scared.
exactly. And we're live. Hello, it's Melinda, joined by my special guest, Melissa. And we are going to talk about something that's near and dear to my heart because y'all know I talk about how I am I have an affair with sugar and carbs, especially when I'm stressed out. I'm an emotional eater, and I was just sharing that with Melissa here. And so the last few months, COVID, all the crazy with that, ups and downs of life. But even decades prior, I had had my own reasons for emotional eating. I didn't realize that this was a thing. I really and
Mhm.
truly didn't until about 3 or 4 years ago. I didn't recognize that or realize that I was gravitating towards food in order to provide comfort and even other releases and so on and so on. Now, my waistline, I keep blaming my dryer on why my clothes are shrinking, but I know what it is. I do. And no jokes
Could
about it
be.
at all because it is serious, the eating disorders and so on and so on. So, Melissa, I'm going to let you take it away. And if anybody's wondering, how you can reach her below, there are her, as you can see on the screen here, there is how you can reach her website and so on. But in the comment section, I've already preloaded all of this information, and it does say Melissa. That's just a joke. And so it's in the comment section, so you can just click on that in the comments and just get to her. So Melissa, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. And like you, I was an emotional eater too. I mean, it started in my childhood. I remember being 8 and hiding Pop Tarts and cookies and candies in my
Mm.
room and thought nothing of it until we had little rodents that pooped on my bed and told on me.
Oh no. Oh
So
no.
got in trouble
Oh
for,
no.
essentially letting rodents into the house because I was hoarding food.
Oh.
um, and I like you said, like I didn't think anything of it at the time. It was food. We need food to survive. Food is food, right? It's kind of needed. Um, it carried throughout high school, carried throughout college, marriage, having kids, and then finally I was like, you know what, something is not quite right here. So really
Mm.
kind of handled that with the birth of our kids and being an overwhelmed mom, and really was using sugar and caffeine to kind of numb and soothe and take the edge of motherhood and the overwhelm and the anxiety and everything that came with that for me off. And so really kind of realized I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to create this model for my kids. And so found the freedom and did that. And now I'm a holistic health and life coach helping other women do the same. So that's the short version.
Well, I'm so glad you recognize that because it's so important. It really is. I mean, what was it exactly that, I mean, do you recall what that moment was for you to realize, hey, this is a crutch or this is really serious for me? Can you share that if so?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we were, gosh, it was probably 11 years ago because our son was a newborn and he wasn't sleeping through the night. So I was exhausted. We had our daughter, who was 2 years old at the time, had some undiagnosed food allergies, some sensory challenges. My
Mm.
husband was traveling for work, and then I was just diagnosed with PTSD from childhood trauma on top of all of it. So it was kind of this like perfect storm of all these things. And so, because of our daughter's food intolerances, we started to change some things in our diet. And
Mm.
because of my PTSD diagnosis, I went to a naturopath, and she did a lot of vitamin and mineral testing and discovered everything was not in a good place because I had been living off of sugar and carbs and diet pop, and really learned about the impact of food on mood and overall health. And through that journey, really discovered that I don't have a good relationship with food. I'm not eating when I'm hungry. I'm eating out of emotion to stuff or to numb or to buffer because I didn't want to feel. I didn't know how to feel. I didn't have the tools to kind of handle what I was going through. I've always kind of been a big personality, and sometimes that's too much for people. So just continued to try to stuff and make myself small. And
Ooh.
really kind of the breaking point where I'm like, you know what, this is not good. This is not healthy. I need to relearn a whole way of eating and taking care of myself because what I had done all those years prior hadn't worked for anybody.
Wow. Wow. And what you said about making yourself small. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That just hit to my heart.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh
Well,
my
because think
goodness.
about it, in society, if you're a loud, outspoken woman, you're quickly labeled and there's a lot of judgment. And it's kind of
Okay.
funny because it seems like society as a whole wants us to shrink our size and our shape and our personality as well. And it's like, I don't want to do any of those things. I want to be healthy. I want to be my
Right.
authentic self.
Right. So what is it you do then in order to help others recognize this, or what is it you do? And it's not just emotional eating, it's other disorders too as well, correct?
Yeah, mainly sugar addiction because that was my vice.
Okay.
Usually the two are linked together. You're probably not going to emotionally eat carrots. I never did. Never. It was never anything, healthy or
No.
nourishing. It was the junk, right? So it's really learning new ways of relating to food and really relating to our bodies and how to honor our hunger and fullness and all these things that we're not taught. All these things, I feel like society wants everybody to follow a certain plan and a specific protocol, and you have to do it this way. And then if you do that and you don't get the results that you saw your friends share, then you feel like a failure. You feel like,
Mm,
that shame spiral can start. This was my experience, at least. And so it's really helping women identify what works for them and their body type. We're all different. It's not one size fits all. So really coming alongside women and helping them learn how to listen to their bodies, understand when they're reaching for food, why they're reaching for food, what they're really looking for, because a craving is a messenger that there could be an area of life that is not quite in alignment. And so it's really kind of
ooh.
looking at the big picture of everything and not just the food, because it's about way more than that.
Oh, well, now that's interesting. Can you touch on that a little bit? Because that's just like, what? What magic do you speak of? Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Because think about it. Like, if you have an area of your life that you are not happy with, maybe it's, where you live or finances or relationship or kids not listening or whatever that is, we all have our thing. Sometimes it's easier to reach for the sugar than to really deal with what's going on. And so it kind of helps us to buffer that. So let's kind of figure out, what really is going on. Why am I reaching for the sugar? What am I looking for? What do I need? What's really going on? And kind of dealing with that, because that's the root issue.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because now I'm thinking about it. There are certain circumstances where I reach for different things depending on the
Mm,
circumstance. Like,
yeah.
yeah, that's why you just blew my mind. It's like now that I think about it, like there's sometimes I'll just gravitate towards rice, and
Yeah.
it's like I can't get enough of rice if I'm my health
Mhm.
issues. I have I'm challenged by Lyme, and a lot of times rice
Mhm.
and pasta are my go-tos. And if I'm having an episode like I was sharing, I have a migraine. It's been a migraine the last couple days, and I just want me some rice. And
Mhm.
but we're dealing with some family issues with my daughter. She was just diagnosed with thyroid cancer, and so I can't get
Mhm.
enough of sugar. I've been eating nonstop sugar. I really can't.
Mhm.
I've been wearing lots of nice stretchy pants, and,
Yeah.
and I don't mean to be joking about it, but I have been because that's just
Mhm.
how I've been dealing with it. I've been, yeah, eating, going for the candy bars and things like that. But
Mhm.
yes, it seems like when I'm really stressed out, that's what I do. That's what I do.
Mhm.
And even take a moment to pause and say, why am I really hungry, Melinda? Come on, Melinda, girl, are
Mhm.
you hungry? It's like, no, I'm
Yeah.
not, but I want it. And so I'll
Yeah.
eat it, or my daughter makes something yummy and brownies
Mhm.
or something like that, fresh bread. So yes. Yeah, so how can we combat that then besides asking yourself, am I hungry? And
Well, I was just going to say that. Can I give you a reframe? Because, I love the am I hungry question, but I think the other thing we can really ask is, what am I hungry for?
okay,
Because we might not be hungry for food, but because we have this hunger, we think that food is what we need to satisfy it. But
right.
if there's an area of our life, let's say, you're dealing with some unknowns right now, and maybe even a little bit of grief, I would guess, because of this diagnosis and what that could look like, and maybe the unknown of going forward, like those emotions that come up for you, what is it that you really need to kind of handle those emotions instead of numbing them with sugar? So I love that question. I love to replace judgment with curiosity, because I think it's easy for us to say, "Oh, I shouldn't have this," or "This is bad," or "This is whatever." But if we can take that judgment away and replace it with curiosity and ask, "What am I looking for?" or "What do I need?" that can be a powerful reshift.
Okay. Okay. Because I mean, literally, there are times I'll reach for that candy bar. I'll be really
Mhm.
upset that I'm eating that
Yeah,
candy bar. I mean, like tears, ugly crying. I know I don't
yeah,
need this, and I'll be stuffing
yeah.
my face anyway, and then feeling horrible about it. I've already ate through half a bag of little miniature
Mhm.
Hershey bars, and
Yeah.
I know it in my heart. I should be picking up my hula hoop, or I should. I've got
Mhm.
vegetables in the fridge. I know I should go ahead and have some cucumbers, and make myself some dip. And yes, how much time
Well,
do you
and
have, girl?
well, because I think too with sugar, the important thing to note is what that does in your brain is when we have sugar, it releases dopamine in our brain, and that's our reward centers, right? So
Okay.
we feel good when we eat sugar. That's why we have that. We legitimately get a sugar high. But then what happens? We crash down from that because our body's blood sugar is trying to balance us out. And so we kind of ride this roller coaster that's not only, exhausting because it affects our energy, it affects our moods, it affects our weight, like it affects so many things. But I think, that blood sugar roller coaster, I have a point. I just need to circle back to where I'm going with this. Is that it creates the reward centers. That's where I was going. So we get this high, but then over time we need to have more sugar to get that same feeling. So the reason that you're probably doing that is because your reward centers are activated and you need more
Okay.
sugar to get that same feeling and that same dopamine release. Does that make
Ah,
sense?
that makes sense. That does. That makes sense.
So it's
Wow.
not your fault. I mean, let's make that
Oh,
really clear. Like sugar addiction is not anybody's fault because it's 9 times more addictive than cocaine. Let's make that clear as well. So why it's
wow.
legal and socially acceptable and thrown out at parades, I don't know.
Wow. Wow. I did not know that. And I know it's
Yeah.
hard because
Yeah.
when I decide to eat clean, there's like a good week or two where it's detoxing. I'm
Yeah.
literally going through
Yeah.
detox. I have a headache. I feel nauseated.
Mhm.
I feel all this yucky stuff. So
Yeah.
wow, wow. And we do have a couple comments from Miss Joe. Hi Joe, thank you for watching. She says we celebrate things with food, birthday cake, anniversary, wedding cake, retirement, etc. Going out to a nice dinner to celebrate. So she treats her sweet tooth, her sweet craving with fruit. Joe, see, I should be doing that. That's a great
Well, don't
idea.
should on yourself. Don't should. Don't
Okay.
should.
Okay. 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 Thank you. Thank you. I feel
You're
validated.
welcome.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
And she said, with the unknown, we hunger for answers. I'm not going to say what she says about miniature Reese cups, but anybody that would like to know can read the comments, Joe. Society has caused the food as a reward thing, and that's true. And I've done it myself for my own kids.
Mhm.
I've done it for myself if I've made some kind of big goal, like, oh, I'm going to go get myself a shake today,
Yeah.
malt, a
Yeah.
chocolate malt or something. Yes, so I've done that, Joe. Yes, thank you for that. I have. I know I have. I have. So, what do you offer your clients when they come to you? How is it you start? Because you've been
Mhm.
so gentle. I just want to say, here's my money.
Mhm.
Here you go. Let's do this today.
Oh, well, I have a really beautiful program. I'm very biased towards my program, but it's
Okay.
called Finding Freedom, and it's really recreating new neural pathways in our brain and creating our habits, shifting our habits around food and how we think of it. Because the thing with food too is it's very emotional. Like I was curious when you mentioned the rice and the pasta. Do you have fond memories of eating that as a child? Like, is there some emotional attachment with those foods?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Not that I can think of. I know my grandma used to make like Mexican rice all
Mm,
the time, being Hispanic, but I don't think so. I think that was just something I used to make on my own a lot when I was a
mm,
kid.
yeah,
I was a latchkey kid, and that was something
yeah,
easy for me to do.
yeah,
And I would
yeah.
curl up sometimes
Mm,
on a couch or somewhere and just with a big bowl. Hmm.
mm.
I might have to dig into that a little bit.
You might want to, just because for me, I had this epiphany a few years ago. I
Mhm.
love to have coffee at night, decaf, of course, but then I would have this like little like treat with it. And I'm like, this reminds me of something. And years later, I figured out, I'm like, oh my gosh, this reminds me of my grandparents. They used to have coffee candy by Brock's. There were these little discs of coffee candy, and they were just sweet and tasted like
Oh,
coffee. And that combination that I was having was the exact same taste from that coffee candy from my childhood. And
oh,
so it
that's
was
sweet.
almost like this emotional attachment of, oh my gosh, this reminds me of my childhood when my grandparents were alive. And so the crazy thing is, once I identified where that came from, I don't need it anymore. So it's just interesting how food can have such an emotional attachment that we might not even be aware of.
Okay. I'll have to dig
So
into that.
dig into that, because just based on what you were saying, the fact that you were home, you were safe, you were probably done with the school day, you were curled up, you were relaxed, like your brain probably associates relaxation with rice or pasta because that's what you did when you were relaxed after school. I'm just throwing spaghetti on the wall here,
No,
but
no, no,
that's
that's true. That's true. And I would have spaghetti too. I would,
okay.
and it's usually when I was alone because I have a background of abuse. So in my
Mm-hmm.
childhood. So usually if I was alone, that was,
Mm-hmm.
you're right. You're right. And my mom usually wasn't home. She was working often. So I was usually by myself. And then, yeah, that was comfort. She make myself a
Yeah.
big old pot of noodles and, or rice. Yeah.
And safety
Yes.
too. And right now, you probably are wanting your daughter to be comfortable and safe.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, definitely. Definitely. Oh, well, thank you. Thank
You're
you for
welcome.
that. Oh my goodness. And now how long does this take? Because I feel like I've already had a breakthrough. I really do.
Yay!
But I mean this of course, like all healing PTSD and so on and so on, it takes time. This isn't going to happen
Mhm.
overnight. And I'm
Right.
no kidding aside, this is going to take time for somebody.
Hmm.
On
Absolutely.
average, are we talking like maybe a year or so?
My program starts off at 12 weeks. I have some women that finish it in the 12 weeks. I have some that continue on past that. So at least 12 weeks to really kind of, get that good foundation of, why am I doing this? This is how I listen to my body. This is where this belief came from. This is where the habit came from. This is what I need. I mean, it's a beautiful program.
Mm. It sounds like it is. It really does. Be biased. Be biased. It
Thank
sounds
you.
wonderful. It
Thank you.
does. It does. Because you need to dig into all those. That's a great
Mhm.
foundation in order to do that. Yes, I
Yeah, and
love
we're not
that.
taught how to do that around food. And it's so crazy. There's one session that focuses specifically on honoring hunger and fullness. And I had a
Oh,
client say to me, if you think about this, when our kids are little and we're doing the airplane thing and trying to get them to eat and they
mhm.
close their mouth, they're honoring their hunger and fullness by saying, I'm done. But what do we do? Oh no, one more bite. Like, it's just so
Oh,
interesting how
oh,
ingrained that is. You know
it's
what I
true.
mean?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, kids. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I feel like, oh, they should want more because
Mhm.
they only ate like 2 teaspoons or something. Yes. That's true. And
Mhm.
I do tell my daughter that has my grandkids that she's worried about. Oh, mom, they've only had like 2 or 3 handfuls of Cheerios. Like, they'll be
Mhm.
fine. You guys survived. You lasted, on a handful of goldfish, and you
Yeah.
were okay.
And played
Yes.
outside and
Ate dirt.
right. Amazing.
Yes. Yes. Oh, but I like that about honoring myself. And, when am I
Mhm.
full? I don't even recognize when I'm full. I
Yeah.
can recognize somewhat when I'm hungry.
Mhm.
And it's
Yeah.
usually when I'm doing clean eating, when I'm doing
Yeah.
like a juice fast or something like, oh, I know I'm
Mhm.
hungry now.
Yeah.
But I know even now, just thinking about it, it's like, I don't know if I'm hungry or if I'm full.
Mhm.
And I was actually thinking about having a brownie before I came
Mhm.
on. And I'm not hungry. I know I'm not
Yeah.
hungry. There's no tummy rumbling, anything going on right
Mhm.
now.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think too,
Wow.
we've somehow been programmed to eat, like I have to eat lunch at noon. That's kind of
Right.
another rule. It's like, okay, am I really hungry or am I doing this because this is when they told me I had to eat my lunch?
Well, you know what? For me, though, I am, again, going back to childhood, I didn't have
Mm,
anyone monitoring when I
yeah.
ate. So from the ages about 6 on up, I would eat pretty much whenever I wanted to.
Mm,
So it wasn't unusual or uncommon for me to pull up get that pasta out at
yeah.
8 o'clock in the morning. And so I'm
Mhm.
married. I call him Mr. Awesome. His name is
Yeah.
Terry, and he'll see me at 1 in the morning with a bowl of pasta. It's usually pasta or something
Yeah.
starchy, and he'll be like, or it's 4 in the morning, Mel. Why are you having that now? Why are you having pizza right now? It's like, mm, I don't know. Tastes good.
Yep. Sounds
Where
good. Tastes
he's
good. Here it is.
where he grew up the traditional, he's going to have his breakfast at 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 o'clock, and it's got to be breakfast. It
Yeah.
can't be spaghetti or cold pizza. It's got to be that.
Yeah.
But he will join me in the middle of the night and snack because I think he has a little bit of the same thing I do with that emotional eating.
Mhm. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, but he has been complaining that the dryer's shrinking his clothes as well. So,
Yeah. It could be a real
yes,
thing.
yes. Yes. So, we already know how we can get in touch with you. I have all your
Mhm.
wonderful links down below.
Yeah.
And so, this process, it sounds like it's a very gentle process to get into
Mhm.
it with you.
Yeah.
And is it your coaching group? Because I know we can reach you at a couple different things. We can just start there. Now,
Yeah.
for someone that's watching this right now, that's tuning in, well, you know what? Let me go to Joe because Joe's got a lot of wisdom and she's been just shooting out a lot of stuff here. She says she buys an outfit or makeup when she reaches a goal. Oh, food plays a huge part in emotions, but it should really just be viewed as fuel for our body. I'm about to have chili and cornbread for dinner. Watch a Super Bowl. Thanks. Her husband, Jim, her knight, he eats cookies through the night. He's a cookie monster. Is there something with that when we eat in the middle of the night? I know that sounds strange.
No, there could be. I mean, it could be you didn't get enough to eat during the day, and so your body's hungry and is looking for that nourishment. It could be that you didn't get enough nourishing foods during the day, so your body's looking for that nourishment. Those could be two reasons that just come to mind off the top of my head.
Okay. Okay. Because I know that's something sometimes that I do. And for some reason, potatoes. The middle of the
Mm-hmm.
night, I want a potato.
Mm-hmm.
You could probably make a million gazillion bucks off of me. It's like,
No,
she's just, it just sounds strange. It does sound strange that this body and mind connection there, it just fascinates me. It really does. It
it's
really
huge.
does.
It's
And
a
then,
real thing. And I used
yes.
to kind of mock people for believing that it was a thing until I had my own experience. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is transformational. People need to know about this.
And here you are. Here you are. Thank you for
Mhm.
sharing all of this. I mean, this
Of
really is
course.
fascinating to me. And I know this is another facet in my healing, in my own PTSD journey that I know I need to work on. And I always
Mhm.
tell people I'm at least 96% of the way there of healed. There's so
Yeah.
much that
Yeah.
still needs to be worked on. As you are probably well aware, this is something that is something you'll probably work on for the rest of your life. We're close to it. Close to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a work in
Oh my
progress.
goodness.
And I think part of that is
Yes.
just because of the societal images and messaging. And that's a whole nother topic.
That it is. That it is. So again, if you can reach out to Melissa, her links are here. And Melissa, did you have anything else you wish to add? I know Joe is just talking away over there. Jim snacks all the way through the day or night and blood sugar issues. And yeah, we've got to be mindful too of that, of our own. You mentioned blood sugar too when that
Mhm.
crashes.
Yeah.
You got to be mindful of that as well, I would think.
Yeah, because that affects your moods, it affects your energy, it affects so much. And your body's always looking to regain balance. And when you're in the middle of that blood sugar crash, the easiest thing to grab is more sugar. And really, it would be, great to maybe grab some water. Maybe you're dehydrated. A craving can be a sign of dehydration. Maybe you need some
Really?
nourishment. Maybe you need some protein or some fat. Like, that's the other thing. I think that so many of us, especially my generation, we believe that fat free is the way to go. But when those food manufacturers take fat out of those products, they replace it with sugar. So our bodies need fat. We need fat for our bodies, for our brains. We don't need the sugar. So don't do the fat free and low fat stuff. But yeah, blood sugar balance is important for sure.
Wow, that just blew my mind. I never thought about that. I was a child of the 70s and the 80s started to get with all
Yep.
that
The
fat-free stuff and
SnackWells, the Olestra chips, all of
yes.
that ruined us, I
Yes. I
think.
was in the bathroom for days. Yes.
Mhm.
Those
I know the
chips.
whole chips. I know.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Yep.
Yes.
Guilty. Fell prey to it too. I get it.
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so this is definitely giving me a different perspective. Let's see. I know I have another comment here. Let's see if this is Ms. Joe. Yeah, she talks about Jim and yeah, Joe about his blood sugar dropping. He gets pale and dizzy. Ooh, yeah, that's not anything to play around with. Oh my goodness. Okay,
Yeah.
so now I'm going to be more mindful, and we're going to have to chat a little bit later at another time. I really need to dive into this. This is something that I know this is a big facet in my healing I need to process. I know I need to dig into that. I really do. I do. So again, if anybody would like to reach out to Melissa, please do so. The links are in the comments section. Is there any last words of wisdom that you would like to share with anybody out there listening? You've already given a great deal of facets.
Thank you. I just want people to know that there's hope and you can change. I think that we live in a society that maybe makes you believe the lie that it's impossible to change or you can never change or you've always been this way. That is not true. Like
Mm.
our brains are amazing. Neuroplasticity is a real thing. You can change how your brain thinks, you can change your habits, you can change. It is absolutely possible. So know that it's there for you.
And that is an excuse that you'll hear people, "Oh, I'm too old," or, "You can't teach an old dog new tricks." But yes, yes, it can be learned. You can do something new. You can. I mean, we do it all the time when we go to a different job. We always
Yep.
learn something new there. Yes, yes.
Yep.
And
And
the way
just
the
because you
government's
came from
pays us a little
something,
different. Yes.
yeah. And just because you came from something doesn't mean you have to stay in that or stay that way. Like, I think that's another thing we say, oh, well, it was always this way. It's always been this way. This is my family. This is my, her
Mhm.
genetics. This is my disposition. No, it doesn't have to be.
Wow, and I just thought of a lady that I chatted with, and she was talking about, it was about health matters and how she's got heart issues. Well, her mama had
Mhm.
heart issues, her daddy had heart issues, and
Mhm.
grandma, so on and so on. She goes, "Well, we'll always have heart issues." Like, "Well, isn't there something you can start to do that?" "Well, no, I'm just gonna probably die before I'm 60 anyway." It's like, "Girl, do not put that out there." And she's like,
Mm-mm.
"Why? It's gonna
Mm-mm.
happen. This person died before they were 50, and this is like, please don't put that out there." And she
No,
was,
power of life and death
"Oh,
is in the
whatever."
tongue.
Yes. Yes. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes. So you will see me out in my yard when I'm in my hundreds, tending to my chickens and my ducks
Yes.
and my goat.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Hula hooping.
Yes.
I'll be out
Perfect.
there. Yes, that's my plan. That's my goal. Yes,
I
ma'am.
love it. I love it. And without vision, the people perish. So you have that vision. So you are like going for it.
I do. Yes. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That's what I figure. That's the way I'm going. That's what I want to do. It's like that's
Yep.
what I told
That's
God. Like,
awesome.
if that's what I want to do, Lord. I want to be out there tending all my animals and just gardening and being happy out in the garden. Yeah.
Amen.
Yes.
I love it.
Oh, oh, Melissa, this is wonderful. Thank you so very much. I appreciate it.
Of
All your
course. Thank
pearls of
you for having
wisdom.
me.
Yes. So if anybody wants to reach her again, all of her links are in the comments. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and thanks for tuning in. We'll see you later. Mwah. Stay